Hello, beautiful listeners. This is Joanna Dos Santos, also known as Mindful Counseling or JDS Counseling. Welcome to today's podcast. And today's topic is on gossiping. That's right, gossiping. And what definition to gossip can you give yourself? Think about it. What does gossip mean to you? Most people would think that it is talking about others negatively or something that is entertaining, which can be quite accurate. Also something that exists most of the time, every single day to be exact. And normally when it comes to gossip, apparently with some studies that I looked into, when I get really interested in particular topics, I have a tendency to wanting to research it. So this is just my character type, and it's just my type of personality. And I came across gossip that it exists on an everyday basis, and that we have a tendency to put in at least 40 to 52 minutes a day gossiping. Who knows about what? Neutral things, others, things that may not necessarily make sense. But if you really look at gossip and the definition, and I came across two definitions too, is one that typically involves details that are not necessarily confirmed as to be true, right? Because if we gossip about, let's say, particular individuals, that individual may not be there to tell you whether or not what you're saying is correct or not. And the other part being, and I cannot remember exactly as the way I read it, but it's almost like a companion. To gossip is like a companion, something that you just naturally do and you carry it with you. And I also came across a great quote that I think ties into particular personalities. And the quote said, "Gossip dies when it enters the ears of the wise." So in other words, what's the purpose of gossiping? And do you choose to continue gossiping as well? Now, the purpose of this podcast is just to be aware of what we do and how we chat and how we speak to others. And do we gossip? Do we start these conversations of gossiping, negative or positive or neutral, however you want to define it, or does someone else do? And the other part that you want to ask yourself is whether or not this is something that's fulfilling in your life, entertaining. Is it due to boredom? Kill some time. And so once again, what does gossip mean to you, and what purpose does it serve you? And my favorite is actually, what if it didn't exist? What if just for a day, if the statistics is that we talk about it on a day-to-day basis, what if gossip was not part of your life? What if you chose, whether it's today or for a whole week, think about it. Sometimes it's easier said than done. But if somebody else chooses, if I choose not to gossip for a longer period of time, what conversations would I then carry? What other conversations can be fulfilling? Now, if someone, I don't know if you all agree, but to me, whenever I think of gossiping, I'm thinking drama, entertainment, belonging, maybe to particular groups. And realistically speaking, we all want to belong somewhere, right? We all want to belong to a group or be able to fit in. And through that, maybe it's all about the conversations you carry, that we all carry. What is our interest? What is not of our interest? What we like, what we don't like. Through all of these things, we belong. And we socially belong. It's almost like a social family gathering. So what does gossip mean to you? As you listen to this, as you think of the word gossip, what comes to mind? When was the last time that you thought you had a conversation that consisted of gossip? And what is it that you enjoyed about it? One of the things that we have a tendency not to say when it comes to gossiping conversations is to actually do the opposite. What would it look like to, let's say, a group of 2, 5, 10 people, however many, we were to say, I just don't feel like gossiping today? Would it change the conversation of all the other individuals? What if you were the person that makes the difference to not pursue the gossiping conversation? What if you were the wise person and actually made the gossip die? Gossip is rumors, right? That are spread in between other individuals. They're secrets. Things that I said it before, thrive on, get some form of entertainment through. Or maybe it also takes an edge from whatever is going on in our life. Let's think about it. Do we gossip so we don't have to talk about ourselves? Do we share things with others that may not be true so that way those stories are shared and not the stories that are real, whatever those are? Think about it. How often do we have particular conversations so we shed away from our problems, our insecurities, our issues, which, by the way, we all have. Once again, this topic is not about what one carries or one has, but the fact that we can all address and acknowledge that it exists. It's more so about the purpose it serves to each individual. Is that a good gossip? Is that a positive gossip, right? The one where someone may have accomplished something and you want to spread it and to make the other person look better or feel good. That's gossiping too. But it's a more positive, right? Gossip, as opposed to maybe the negative one, where someone makes a mistake or someone didn't do something the correct way, said something wrong, and all of a sudden, whatever that was seems to be existing in other people's mouths, and it spreads throughout conversations, departments, work, school, friendships. Why? Why do we thrive so much on negative gossiping, or gossiping that seems to be more of not true? Because let's face it, our brain just has more capacity to focus on the negative things. And how much work do we need to do in order to focus on the more positive things? To give it more room, to have more room in our brains to focus on the positives. To not complain, to not gossip. We somehow, and I'm not saying the whole population, I'm not doing that research, we thrive on negative things. There's something about it. So why do we gossip? Why do you gossip? And what is it that you can do today to not have a gossiping conversation? Not to talk about someone else in a negative way, but to maybe acknowledge flaws or mistakes that someone might have, but maybe internally, or maybe in between a trusting relationship, or maybe in between of ethical sort of trusting relationship where, I don't know, where maybe you and a colleague of yours have made a mistake and you want to bring it up to that person as opposed to needing to share it somewhere else where it does not need to be shared. What do you want to do about a gossiping conversation today? And is it flattering? Think about it for today or for the next time you feel like you're entering a gossiping conversation. Are you the gossiper, the gossipee, part of the belonging? And what would it look like to change the conversation? What would it look like if I did not gossip today? if I did not entertain this gossiping conversation. Another part of gossip is whoever it is that we choose to gossip to, or what it is that we gossip about, or who, is maybe it gives us an awareness and to look at ourselves, that if someone else is gossiping, is it possible that they may be gossiping about us as well? Is it worth the time? So gossip also makes us become more aware, particular personalities too, about our own perception on it, how we look when we gossip. And if others gossip, are we a part of that gossiping conversation too, in their gossiping conversations? So once again, this is just a curious thought for today, the part of mindful counseling. And what conversations do you want to carry with the next person you see? Until next time, be well and be good. This is Mindful Counseling, Joanna Dos Santos.